This is a special podcast I wanted to bring to you this morning. Uh, it's an interesting topic, and I just wanted to get your feedback on what you think. And please, if you have any issue, questions, or whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to me. The conversation this morning has to do with relationship building. Okay, and why did or why am I coming to you having this conversation this morning? It is because of the generation after us. Uh, what I mean by that, our kids and also our grandchildren. Some of us now have grandchildren who've been in the United States forever. I know I basically grew up here. I would say I have spent more time in this country than I did in my home country where I was born, Liberia, specifically Grand Bassa County. But this morning conversation, again, is focused on our children that are born here. Most of the kids that live in the big cities, the girls, the boys, like Philadelphia, I would say Rhode Island, Minnesota, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. Well, there are many other cities. I don't have any statistics about the number of people that live in those different states and cities. But I wanted to talk with you about the kids and the relationship moving forward. Alright, so here's the back setting. My age group in our 60s and some in the 50s, we all migrated here around the late 70s, early 80s. I came here in the early 80s, around 1982, July. So I lived in Virginia for a little bit, and then I moved to New Jersey, where I lived in Newark, and I went to college. Newark was very populated with Liberians. So we all played football, we had a good time, we mingled, the boys and girls, and it was fun. And we had a very good relationship. We would leave Newark and go into New York after the club closes in Newark. We'll go have a good time. On the weekend, we play football. So it was a very good niche relationship where we saw each other, I would say during the week and on the weekends. But at the generation after us, and especially for those of us that live in places like Virginia, I would say Illinois, and the isolated states, it's hard for our children to mingle with other Liberians around them. So I thought about it and I said, well, so how, I have three sons, how are you guys going to meet Liberian girls, their age group, that they can date, they can have relationship with. So this way we can build that relationship and these kids can think about home later on as they grow up. But it's hard, especially if you live in places like Virginia, especially in the suburban areas where the kids, they go to college, they get educated, they have very good jobs. But it's hard for them to meet, the boys to meet the good Liberian girls and the good Liberian boys. There's no bad ones, okay? So I thought about it and I said, maybe I just go to the airways and we can talk about it. So if you have questions, come on Facebook. If you have ideas, how we can improve this and help them to meet other people, hey, let's do it. Now, I will tell you right off the bat, I'm a little bit selfish in this conversation. Selfish in the sense that my focus is on Liberian girls and Liberian boys. I'm not talking about all of Africa. The kids are free to meet wherever they want to meet, wherever they want to date, wherever they want to marry, they can do so. But my interest is in building relationship between born Liberian girls in the diaspora and born Liberian boys in the diaspora, because I think there's a benefit to that for me and for other Liberians my age. Because as they grow older and we introduce them to Liberia, they will have interest to say, hey, you know, dad and mom introduced me to this beautiful country, and I think, you know, I'm in my 40s, I think I can make some investment, or I can go and help the people as a medical doctor or engineer or social worker. I can go and help. And so if they both are of Liberian descent, it will be easier for them to make that migration, for them to fit into the society, because her mother is from there and the father is from there. So it makes life easier for them. It doesn't mean that they can convince other nationalities, you know, in a relationship to say, hey, let's go to Liberia. But it's a little bit hard, because if you meet a girl from, I would say, Zimbabwe, Libya, you're going to go to Libya, yes, but you know, you're going to get homesick. And I'm speaking from experience, because I know folks that are in relationship marriages today that are happy, but they still have that, you know, competition. Hey, should I build a house in Uganda for us, or should we build a house in Liberia? Now, the woman will always have that, you know, the upper edge. She's probably going to say, hey, you married to me, I'm from Kenya, we're going to build a house in Kenya because that's where my family from. And the poor guy will say, okay, but his heart is always going to be on his home country. So I'm asking you, those, you know, in the world, on Facebook or wherever you are, how can we help? Now, if you are from a neighboring country, again, I'm selfish, so please bear with me. If you're from Sierra Leone, you're from Nigeria, you're from Ghana, you're from, I say from West Africa, it's easier. It's easier to work with that, because you can hop in the car, you can easily hop in the car on a flight and go into Ghana, or you can go to Nigeria, or you can go right into Togo. So it's easy, and the culture is very, you know, close. But if you're on the other side, you're from west, and you got to go to east, or you got to go to south, or all the way to the north, it becomes a little bit harder. So I'm asking all of you on Facebook and other places, how do you think we can help our children to help solve that? It's not a problem, but to ease the pain on those of us who love our country and we are encouraging our children, you know, to make some investment. I had the opportunity to take the two little ones, my last two, Tobias and Princess, we call her Selma, into Liberia in 2016, which was fun for them because it was the very first time going to visit the country, specifically Perovia. Well, I got to take them to Lower Buchanan too, just to see where I came from. But it was like maybe 2 hours drive. So we were able to make that trip. But we had some challenges driving between Monrovia or Firestone and Lower Buchanan. So it made, you know, there was some bad taste in their mouths, but I still encouraged them to go and check it out. Again, the other guy, Lawrence made Liberia his home. So he's gone there, you know, he coached basketball. I know he met a lot of females and he made lots of friends. So the migration for him is very easy. He already, you know, he knows that landscape better than I do. Okay, so I know in the future that's where he plans to settle. And even if he could settle now, he'd probably be there. But he spends most of his time, or the last few years in Liberia, trying to open a farm and a business and all that kind of stuff. So he's settled. But what's about the other three? The second born, Kwashi has been to Liberia. He was very young when he went there. But I try to encourage all of them to make that trip and see what a home looks like, what your home country looks like. Because I know in the future they're all going to have an interest to say, hey, I want to go to Liberia. This is where my father and my mother came from. I want to go and check it out. And, you know, if they, for those of them that right now, they're still trying to figure out, hey, who I'm going to date or who I'm going to marry. Again, I'm just encouraging them. How can we help them to build that relationship? Okay, they are free to make their choices to wherever, you know, whoever they meet. And if they can convince their girlfriend, their wives, and say, hey, let's move to Liberia, that would be awesome. But I just wanted to talk to my friends and family, especially the women on Facebook. What do you think we can do to help them? Or even if they don't have a girlfriend now, how they can meet someone that they can start a relationship with. In Virginia, we don't have like a place where the kids can go to gather, you know, to meet other people. We all live in these homes. We don't mingle with other people that much. We stay by ourselves. We work, come home, and, you know, we feel comfortable where we are. So I just thought to appeal to friends, family, and say, hey, do you know of young women and young guys that we can talk to, or say, hey, you know, let's get together and have a drink and have those professional young ladies and professional young men, they come together and we start to build that relationship to help to foster their future. It would be very helpful. So I was looking at that, and I also look into, okay, so why is it hard in where we are? If you're in Philadelphia, it's very easy. You know, the kids, they mingle. There are more Liberians that live in that area. They can meet other people. They can, you know, and build their relationships and have fun. So I went to look at the statistics of Liberians in the United States. And the average, it's not average, but the estimate is between 250,000 and 500,000 Liberian with status and without status. The number is between 250,000 to 500,000, which is a very high number. And I know it continues to increase. I didn't look at a year when that statistics was taken, but that's a number. So then I said, let me see which state has the most number of Liberians. And I found that, you know, it is not strange. I know most of you already know that number. That state is going to be Minnesota. The number in Minnesota estimated to be around 30,000. I think it's more. And if you look at it, it's more populated in Brooklyn Park. So if you went into Brooklyn Park, you know, like the last time I was there, I was telling Shirley, if you drove in Brooklyn Park, or if you went to the supermarket in Brooklyn Park, every 3 black people you're going to come by, there will be one Liberian. That's how it is in Brooklyn Park. If you went to the supermarket and you spend like 20 to 30 minutes, 1 out of 3 going to be a Liberian. So there are lots of us in Brooklyn Park. So it's easier for the kids to build relationship in that area because of the population. But if you came into, and the next state behind that was Maryland. Maryland came in number 2 on the number of Liberians. I didn't look at the exact number, but it estimated around 15,000 to 20,000. But if you live in like Virginia, you know, the Stafford area, the Woodbridge area, or the Spotsylvania, it's hard for the kids to meet other Liberians because of the population in that area. It's not too populated. You may not see Liberians unless you know them and they live in that area. You say, oh, okay, I know a Liberian that lives in Spotsylvania, I'm going to visit. But no, or you have a family member that lives there. So I thought it was just a good conversation for us to have online to see what we can do to help the kids. I don't know how it is in Georgia, but I know if you went into Lawrenceville, it's a good bit of us that live in that area. But again, it's that the number is not too high, and so is I haven't spent a lot of time in Lawrenceville. I go there frequently because I have families that live there. My cousin Maddie, how I made, and other family members live in that area. So I don't know the data, or I don't have any data on the area. But where I live, I know it's hard in the Virginia area for us to have these kids to come together. I'm not saying we should start a dating game, no. But what I'm saying is that, hey, if we can start, open something on Facebook and say, hey, we have a frequent meeting place and we all can get together. We can pass a word to our cousins and nephews and nieces to say, hey, we think this is a very good group to be a member of. Or hey, you can, they're meeting, they're having something, they're painting, drinking spot today. I see people go, they have these places you go to paint a picture and they have drinks and stuff. I think it's a very good gathering for them to get together and start having conversation on, how to build a relationship. Because it is a good thing for them, guys, girls to come together and do that. Like I mentioned, in Newark and Rhode Island, Brooklyn, those days in the 80s, it was very easy because we play football. Most of us that play football back home, soccer we call it here, we all came and we just, we live in Brooklyn. I never lived in Brooklyn. I live in Newark from I would say from 1986 to 1990. I was in Newark, New Jersey, and I went to New Jersey Institute of Technology while I was in that area. I left there in 1990, but I have already established relationship, across the East Coast, because I used to travel to Massachusetts, Providence, and other places to play soccer, because that's what we did in the summertime. In the summertime, with the late Sickle Gomez, may his soul rest in peace, and the rest of the guys, Sakba, Josiah, Philip, we all gather, Albert, Mama Musa, we gather in Brooklyn, we play, and we had a good time. After playing, we'll go hang out in 2016, or we'll find other places, we'll go drink some beer and meet other people. So building relationship was much easier for us. But I think today it's a little bit harder for our children because we have some of us that moved away from the densely populated Liberian cities. It's hard for our children to mingle. Yes, they meet a lot of other people. They meet kids from Haiti, from Ethiopia, from Kenya and other places. And some of them build very good relationship. But like I said, we, for the future of Liberia, we think if they can start mingling with other people from that region, or they can start telling their wives, say, hey, we're going to build a home in Liberia, I think it's going to benefit us for the future. I am not saying, again, I want to make this clear. I really want to make this clear. The kids are free to, meet and mingle with whoever they choose to. They are free to do so. But we just want to open the vernacular to them to say, hey, try to look other places. Hey, here you can go and meet other people from different places of Africa. I mean, if you want to meet someone from Poland, it's up to you. From Russia, it's up to you. But we just want to give them the opportunity to look at other people from where we all migrated from. That's why I wanted to talk to you about this morning. And so while we are talking about this, one thing that came to mind over the week, during the week, it has to do with, again, building relationship. So when I lived in Newark in the mid 80s, like I said, I moved to Newark in 1986 and I was there until 1990. I left and went into the United States Navy. And while in Newark, I built some very, very good relationships. I met very nice people, women that helped me to be who I am today. Now, this is no kind of boyfriend, girlfriend women I'm talking about. I'm talking about women that helped me when I really needed help to get to be who Lawrence Tubman is today. One of those people that I met in the 80s when I moved to Newark was a lady by the name of Eesa3fpC784MCwihQUtHWG6razaOd86gdMy. Esther was a very good friend, very high class lady. I would go to her house and there were many of them in Newark, and I would call those names later on. And when I was hungry, I would stop at Esther. She used to live on the 8th floor in 611, and I would find something to eat. And now one day she would complain, "Hey, why you came to my house to eat?" Another person I used to, visit when I was also hungry was a lady they called Teresa Toll. Now I moved to Newark, and I was in Virginia when I came to the United States. My first state was Virginia in 1982, July. And I started school in 1983. But then 1986 summer, I was like, it's time for me to make a move. A young man trying to make life. I didn't know anyone much in the New Jersey area, but a guy they called Daniel Symbol. May his soul rest in peace. Daniel passed away. He passed away. Daniel and his wife, Martha Symbol, they allowed me to stay with them. And they had a 1-bedroom, and they had a daughter, Titi. Titi was also there with them. So Daniel and Martha said, "Hey, Lawrence, you can move to Newark. We only have 1 bedroom, but you can sleep in the living room." So I remember, I couldn't go to sleep until everybody went to sleep. So I would take the mattress from their bedroom out before they went to sleep, and then I would sleep put the mattress down on the floor, and I go to sleep. We were hustling. And Martha and Daniel took very good care of me. But when I was hungry, I couldn't spend all the time with them. I would go by Esther's place, because Martha would live in 611 on the 4th floor. I would stop at Esther, get some food to eat, and that was good. And then I came across another friend building my relationship they call Alfred Anderson. And Alfred and Dolly used to live on the 2nd floor of 611. You see, all of us, there were many of us that lived in that building on High Street. And today it is called Martin Luther King Boulevard. And Alfred was married to a very good friend. She also passed away, Dolly Macaulay Anderson. Very nice lady. And I would go by them and sit there. Dolly would cook, and they would give me food to eat. Alfred, very good buddy of mine, he moved to Liberia. So I built these relationships as I started to find my way through this maze of this country they call the United States. And when I was not by Alfred's place finding food to eat, I would also go by Teresa. So while in college, I went to Essex County College too, but while at NJIT, my stop would be at Teresa too. And every time I went by a tea place, she would give me something to eat. And then Dolly said, "Hey, Lawrence, I think I can help you find a job." And Dolly was able to secure me a position at a company called ADP, Automatic Data Processing, making about $4 an hour. So I started to work there, and Dolly would pick me up. I would find my way to work. ADP was in Clifton, New Jersey. And so to get there, I will have to take 2 buses. And when I get there, I leave school by 3. I gotta be at work at 4 o'clock. I find my way. I get there something like 4:35. I will start work and I leave by 11:12, and I would catch a ride with Dolly. And that one day, Dolly would say, "Lawrence, you gotta buy gas for us to go back." Now, how good she and Alfred Anderson were to me. So I stayed with them. Like I said, I had a job at ADP, and thanks to Dolly and to Alfred. And that job, I was not able to feed myself and take a little good care of myself and to find a place to stay. But while, staying with Daniel, the time came, I said, look, I gotta move out. And so I found a roommate in a building called 440 on Washington Street. This is my life story I'm sharing with you. And the reason I'm doing it is to just show you that if you build good relationships, it will last you your lifetime. And so I moved with someone in 440, and I was a roommate. Now I was already at NJIT. I think I was a junior at NJIT studying electrical engineering technology. And so I lived there until this person said, look, my boyfriend is moving in and you gotta move out. I had nowhere to move. So this is when I'm going to become homeless. And I'm telling you the story because, again, it all has to do with building relationship, not just girlfriend, boyfriend, but good people. So my friend Moses Watson said, hey Lawrence, you can come here on this. I think Moses was on the 2nd or 3rd floor, and I was on the 9th floor in that building. So Moses, I went to stay with Moses, and while with Moses, his girlfriend came in, and it was a 1-bedroom, so I had to move out. So then I moved to a friend back in 611 they called Arthur. And Arthur said, hey Lauren, I have an efficiency. Both of us can be here until you find a place. And which I did. I finally was able to find a 1-bedroom in North Newark on Lincoln Avenue. And that's where I was. And I continued to work at ADP until I graduated from NJIT. And when I graduated from NJIT in 1989, I started thinking, okay, what am I going to do next? So I found a job as a quality control engineer with a company in New Brunswick, New Jersey. It was a very good job. As an engineer, I started to do that. But then this thing was in my head that I wanted to go to the United States Navy. So in 1990, I enlisted into the U.S. Navy. And when I enlisted into the U.S. Navy, that took me out of Newark, which is a very good thing for me. I needed to get away from Newark. I've stayed there. We had a good time. I partied. The good thing about it is that I have very good friends around me. I didn't have any relatives in Newark, New Jersey, but I have very good friends. And we stay out of trouble. Friends that I could count on. We drank a lot of Budweiser because that's what I could afford. And so we had a good time. Like I said, Alfred Anderson, Daniel Simbo, those are 2 good guys I always hung around. And the 3 of us, we used to like drinking the Budweiser, the 16 ounce Budweiser. I didn't know much about Courvoisier or Hennessy because I couldn't afford that kind of stuff. But we drank the Budweiser and we had a good time, and I learned to build good relationship with those folks. Today, Alfred is a very good friend. He's like a brother to me. Daniel, like I said, he passed away. So I always tell my kids, it's good to build a good relationship. And not just with people you have intimate relationship with, but people you don't have any intimate relationship with. Because those people will always come back to help you and to always be good friends with you. And that's why I mentioned Esther Titido. Esther died, I think, a year or two ago. And she was sick for a long time in a nursing home in Rhode Island. I didn't get to visit her because the picture in my mind was always that high class lady in New Jersey. Believe me, I was not a type for her to date. I'll be very frank with you. But Esther was a very good, down-to-earth person. Well, like I said, we would go to her house a party, drink the beer. I couldn't afford to bring any beer to the party. So I used to go visit all the other places, drink the people beer and go home. I couldn't afford to buy any. But Esther didn't complain. And so when she passed away, I heard that they were going to, since we didn't have a normal funeral for her, because it was during the COVID time, they were planning a memorial service for her. And so a couple of weeks ago, I talked to Teresa Toll, and I mentioned to Teresa, I said, hey man, is anyone doing anything about Titi Doe Memorial? I think we need to come together and memorialize her. Esther was a very good, decent human being. So I'm breaking this up to my friends on Facebook. Some of you may not know who Esther Doe is, but if you're talking to anyone, you say, hey, I listened to Lawrence talking this morning on Facebook about Esther Doe. Especially if you're from Newark, from the late 70s, 80s, and you're from Princeton, Georgia, you will know, they would say, yes, we know Esther Doe. So I'm asking you, friends and family on Facebook, if you are friends with me, send me that note. What can we do to plan something for our good friend? We need to remember her. We can't just let her go away like that. We need to come together as we did at our friend's funeral, Alexander Barkley's funeral. We need to come together and have something for Esther Titi Doe. Esther was a very good friend, a person you could go to, and like I said, you find something to eat. She was a single woman, but she always had food in her apartment. I can attest to that. I don't know how others, whether others could, but I can attest to that, because that's where I spend some of my time. When I went there, like maybe a Saturday or Friday afternoon, I would stop by. If she had a little leftover, I would eat it, because I didn't have anything. I was broke, really broke. So I had somewhere to go. I would go to her place to find food to eat, or I would go to Teresa To's place and find something to eat. Those are two people, I would say three, and Dolly, I was comfortable with, that I could go to their apartments and I was assured to find something to eat. So if we could plan to celebrate Esther's legacy, friends and family, I think it would be the good thing for us to do. So if you're listening to me, or like I said, if you meet people and you say, hey, Lawrence, mention Esther Titi Doe's name, let's do something. Let's do something for her. She deserves it, although she's gone from this life. But we were sure to the world that we were friends with her, that we care for her, and we want to make sure that we celebrate life for Esther Titi Doe. The last section I'm going to bring on this show before I depart will be, again, building relationship with my alma mater, the great William V. at Tubman High School. Last Saturday, I had an opportunity to sit down with a few of my cardinals to promote our upcoming reunion, which is in October, very first weekend of October, October 4th through the 6th. So if you are a Tubman High graduate, please, I'm encouraging you to make that trip to Winston Salem, North Carolina. You can go on to the school's website, and all the information is there. There'll be the quiz contest, there'll be lots of fun. You're going to meet people you haven't met for a very long time. So I'm encouraging you to please show up. If you're in Georgia, wherever you are, be a part of it. We're trying to build this sort of relationship because this one is going to help us to build Liberia, or to help us to what would be the word that I would select for that? Or to help the next generation, with education. You see, when I talk about my life earlier, the only thing that got me to where I am, and the first credit goes to God, to my mother, who made me to be who I am today. And the third person I'm going to give the credit to, or the third couple I'm going to give the credit to, are my brother and his wife, Lucinda Namwe and Charles Namwe. They encouraged me, they paid my transportation, they lodged me when I came into this country, how I came into the country. Without those two, I don't know whether I would be where I am. So that's my backbone. Okay? But I'm talking about Tubman High because if we can help to raise funds to help the school with water, good water, chairs for the kids to sit in to learn, a computer screen or a computer or a TV screen where they can have distant learning, we are affecting the lives of many Liberians. So I want to encourage you, friends and family, in the Facebook land, to join us for the upcoming reunion. Last Saturday, I was on with some great men like Patrick, the president, Emas. I was also on with our great treasurer, Franklin. Okay, the person that I missed on that call was Washington Doe, and I think he's going to join us in the next call, the board chair. But folks, we are not doing this just because we want to show, to prove anything to you. We're doing it to help humanity. That's what I stand for. How can we help other kids like me who went through challenges to get to where I am? How can we help them to make it much easier for them to achieve education? I got many friends and many on Facebook that I talk to all the time, and they know who Lawrence Tubman is, and they know who Dr. Lawrence Tubman, what he stands for. Believe me, I've been to places that I didn't dream of going in my lifetime. But it was one thing that got me there. Education. Education meaning I went to school, I learned something, I pushed myself very hard. There were many, my wife, Shirley Brown Tubman, very, supportive of what I wanted to do, what I wanted to become, and what I am now. So if we can help other children, be it in the United States, be it in Liberia, to achieve their goals, we've made a difference. So for the Tubman High family, let's do that. Come to the reunion. Let's raise funds. Bring all you can. I'm not saying go broke. I'm not saying break your bank, but let's try to help. Tubman High was built by the United States, period. A group out of San Francisco, California. It was one of the best school buildings in Liberia in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Today, it is breaking down. We just can't come back to the United States and say, oh, you know, come and help us to repair it. They have given us something. It is time for us, Liberians, especially the Tubman High alumni, to stand up. Let's repair the building. Let's continue to support the school. We can't just continue to come back to the U.S., to USAID and others and say, hey, you know, give us some more money. We are the building bathroom. We need to clean the bathroom, or we need to refurbish the bathroom, or we need to put water tank in the building. No. Tubman High graduates can do that. Tubman High graduates in the Liberian government, Tubman High graduate in the diaspora, we can do that. This upcoming reunion is not about, I don't like Amos, I don't like Lawrence, or Lawrence is from Buchanan, or Amos is from Grand Jita, or Patrick is from this place. No, it's not going to be. This is going to be the reunion where we're going to unite and come together as one and make sure we can build a stronger relationship among us to save our school. So folks, again, if you are out there and you're a Tubman High graduate, please don't make excuses. Oh, you know, we had a misunderstanding and therefore I am not coming. We always going to have misunderstanding. Even my brother, my sister, and I, we have had misunderstanding, but we were able to come back together. Everybody is not going to like you. You're not going to like everybody, but you have to learn how to work within the framework of humanity. We had some, you know, difficult time over the last few months trying to straighten up our finances. You know, today we are much stronger. We have a bank account. You can go onto the website. You can make a donation through Cash App, through Zelle. You can track your donation. You know how much you have donated to the school. You can do that. It's no longer, oh, the Lawrence Tubman name is on the bank account, and so the money has to go to Lawrence Tubman. No, you don't have to do that. The bank account is in no one's name. It is in Tubman High's name. When you make your deposit, keep it. You can claim it on your taxes. That's how far we are now. We have made a difference. So we're asking you, we're appealing to you, we're begging you, come and support Tubman High in October. The reunion is October 4th through the 6th in Winston Salem. Go onto the website, check it out. The chair lady for this upcoming reunion is Ms. Finney. She's out of North Carolina. They are there to help us to make sure we have the right hotel. But all the information you want to know, it's online. Go onto the website and you will get all the information you need to support the Tubman High effort. If you are in Liberia, we want to say, hey, tune in next Saturday. I'm going to be hosting the team again. This time we're going to be a larger number. We're going to have some females and males. It's not just going to be the guys having it this time, but we want to make sure that you are part of us. We want to build that relationship among us. The class of 1995 met last weekend in San Antonio, Texas. Or Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. And can you imagine? That's a class of 1995. They are very close niche members. We can elevate that relationship to the higher level, to the reunion level. So folks, Let's do that. Come and join us for the upcoming reunion, and we want to see you. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there with my Tubman High t-shirt on to support Tubman High. I want you to do the same thing. Come on, let's support T-High. Let's make our donations. Let's go get new chairs for the kids. One of the things I'm even going to talk about in Winston Salem is let's elevate the technology. We can do distant learning. Just how I'm sitting here at home in my office talking to you, I can sit in the same office with a screen in one of those classrooms and teach a course. I can do that. You can do that. Oh, within the next 5 years, I can promise you, we're going to be there. We're not only going to depend on our teachers in Liberia who make almost nothing, but they make the sacrifice to teach our children. We're going to help them by introducing distant learning into Tubman High. I will sit here and teach a course on strategic thinking, or teach a course on computer operation, or teach a course in cybersecurity, or teach a course in leadership. I will be able to do that. But that is not going to happen until we can come together and build that relationship to make sure we all can help to move Tubman High to the next level. I've gone 46 minutes into this podcast. I introduced 3 different distinct topics to you this morning. They all were the focus was on building relationship. I talk about our kids, how we can help them to build relationship. I talk a little bit about myself, where I started, and why I am who I am today. I worked hard to get there. Bravo Zulu to my Navy shipmates. They helped to make me who I am. If my buddy Furtherman is listening to this, my favorite commander, Dick Furtherman, Richard Furtherman, hey, thank you, sir. I always appreciate you. You're a great guy. Robert Volpe was the chief of my first ownership in the Navy on the USS Yorktown. Chief Volpe, he helped to make me who I am. Okay, that's an XO Commander Dietrich. Bravo Zulu to him. You helped to mold me. I will never forget. I will always remember you and Captain Mullen, today retired Admiral Mullen. So I have great people. Okay, I have very good people I've worked with in the Navy, from a ship to Naval Sea Systems Command, to my mentor, Mr. Jacob Van der Dre, who made me to come into Washington and made me to do great things. From Naval Sea Systems Command to the Pentagon, from the Pentagon to Wharton Executive School, to Duke University, to George Washington University. Thank you, folks. You molded me well. You made me to be who I am today. And I will forever hold my life and my salute to you all. It is you who helped me. It is you who made me to be Lawrence Tubman. So I want to say thank you very much for all you've done for me and you continue to do for me. I still support my Navy. Go Navy. Go the Department of Defense. My solidarity is there to you. Ladies and gentlemen, all my friends listening to this podcast, if you could, let other people know. But again, the 3 things, like I mentioned, helping our children to build a relationship. A little bit of my life I gave to you. And the 3rd one was Tubman High. And also, there was a 4th item about having a memorial service for my good friend, Esther Titi Dole. So thank you. It is now about 10 minutes to 11. I usually try to run this podcast for an hour or 2, but today I'm going to stop here am going to say thank you for listening. If you didn't listen to it, you can always go back to Facebook and pull it up. I've been having some little difficulty getting to podcasts on YouTube, but I'm going to fix that. And please join me next Saturday when I host my Tubman High buddies for us to discuss the upcoming reunion. Thank you, friends, family, for listening, and have a wonderful Saturday morning and weekend. It's a little bit cold up here in Virginia. I'm in Woodbridge. The temperature was 67 degrees this morning when I woke up, and it's going to 74. So thank you, my nephews and brothers and sisters in the Facebook world. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. Bye.